Hey, this is Munsey with Monday Pulpit. If you recognize where I'm at Lakewood Church, and we are just getting ready for our Champions Network gathering of pastors. This is something we're doing more frequently with Pastor Joel and the staff, and it's really going to be great. Today I'm going to talk to the pastors about knowing their sphere. This is something we've talked about in the past. It comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 10. And we use that scripture often about spiritual warfare, strongholds, and casting down images and thoughts. But in the real context of it, the Apostle Paul is actually dealing with charismatic leaders versus character-driven leaders. He's dealing with the fact that this is a church that he's a father of, and he's losing them. He's losing influence with them because people are coming in and kind of charming the people and creating this image that they care more, and essentially they end up taking advantage of the Corinthian church. It will remind you, especially if you read the Amplified Version, of kind of our day. We know now that church is kind of different. There's no more zip code ethics. People can start a church right next to you. And so you really have to work on casting down thoughts and images about yourself that can become a stronghold that can really destroy your confidence. So Paul says, here's what you need to do. You need to know your sphere. That's your authority, or as Joel says, that's your lane. And you need to know who you are. And if you'll stay true to your calling. And I always say to pastors, ask yourself what makes you tick, what makes you ticked, and what's in your history that kind of fuses together to point you towards your lane. Because the worst thing that can happen is that you don't have a unique sound. And back in the days of the shepherds, shepherds depended very much on their tone, their sound, and their sheep would hear it. I believe the day could come, there could be 100 churches on one block or a mile, and if you know your sphere and you know your sound and you're in your lane, they will pass 99 churches to get to you. So the key is to constantly be refining. Who am I? Who am I not? And ask yourself, am I in my lane? And Paul goes on to say that he's not afraid to ask other people. He says, my lane is not only what I know in my heart is right, but it's been confirmed by others. One of the most difficult but important questions a pastor can ever ask is, whom do you say that I am? Jesus asked that question, and every pastor and spiritual leader should say that. Who do you say that I am? Because what happens is we get images and we get thoughts about who we are, what we want to be, and somehow we lose who we really are. And sometimes you need your wife, you need your children, you need friends that will say, hey, this is how I see you. And then you kind of are able to use that to fine-tune your tone and your sound. So today, that's what we're going to be sharing with our pastors. And today, I just want to encourage you today to cast down every image and every stronghold and every thought that exalts itself against the knowledge of the call that you have and why God called you and the lane and sphere that you're supposed to be in. That's your most important task. If you know your sound, you know who you are, everything else really comes easy. When you got the big yes inside you, it can eat up all those little no's that have a way of eating away at our confidence. All right, so God bless you. This is going to be a great week, and I'll see you next week on Monday Pulpit.